Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing part 1 of Pyramids of Mars, which is a favorite of mine. I was sent this DVD recently by one of my subscribers, the Fly Attractor, who sent me a box with several things in it. I'd mentioned on the channel wanting to watch this one again. I love Pyramids of Mars, but I haven't seen it in years. It was the only season 13 story I didn't own, so I really appreciate him sending this. And today we're going to talk about part 1. And I love it. Such a masterpiece of an episode. Tom Baker is just in fine form here. I absolutely love everything he's doing. Excuse me. I like the opening scene with like the professor trying to, unearth the tomb and stuff. And of course, when all the people helping him see that eye light up, they all leave, and he's like, primitives. He should have listened to him. And of course, we see him open it up, step inside, and then there's that glowing green light, and he just, what we assume, dies. Which in a way is what happens. I enjoy a lot of this. I think that first shot of the Doctor in this story is probably one of the most iconic shots in the show. When he's wearing his fedora and he just kind of looks up. That's such an iconic shot. You see that in a lot of fan trailers. In The Timeless Children, when the Doctor was trying to overload the Matrix, you see that's the scene they used for the 4th Doctor when it shows all the previous Doctors. You see it in the Sarah Jane Adventures clip as a clip in Death of the Doctor when Sarah Jane's remembering the 4th Doctor. That's the clip they use. It's a very iconic shot. Not just that first part, but the whole shot, because it does pull back to him with his hands in his pockets standing beside the TARDIS console. I think that's also very iconic. So not just the first part of the shot, the whole shot. It's also a really nice opening shot for the Doctor, too, the way it pulls back. That's actually a pretty impressive shot for Classic Who. I enjoy that whole scene as well after Sarah comes in and he calls her Victoria. I like that. That whole talk where he's like, I'm a Time Lord. You don't quite seem to understand the implications. I'm not a human being. I walk in eternity. And to me, that's one of my favorite Doctor lines, too. I love that line. I'm not a human being. I walk in eternity. Not just saying, I'm a Time Lord. I walk in eternity. Something about that. I love that sentence. The dialogue in Pyramids of Mars is really good. Which doesn't surprise me when you have, Bob Holmes as your script editor. He's probably sitting there going, I can tighten up this dialogue a bit. Because Bob Holmes does great dialogue. I really enjoy that whole scene in the TARDIS. And then when, of course, the catastrophe happens and they go off course, I like the little camera tilt, and Tom and Elizabeth do a good job of stumbling around. It's done really well to show, they're off course. And then Sarah sees the little projection that scares her. I think I've always believed Sarah has like a high, like ESP rating or, like a high kind of psychic rating. Because that kind of happens a lot where she kind of mentally connects with things. You see that in Planet of Evil as well. Eldrad's able to kind of control her easily as well later. So I think she has like a high kind of, I guess, ESP rating, I'd call it. I've always believed that about her. I don't know if anything ever really touches on that, but I really think she does. Because that kind of thing happens to her a fair bit, where she sees stuff like that or feels a connection with something like that. And the fact that she not only saw it, but could feel how malevolent it was. Yeah, I enjoy that whole scene in the TARDIS. The location work looks good. It looks, going by the DVD, it looks like it needs a little cleanup. I hope when the season 13 box set, it does get some cleanup. You can tell it's not the original film elements. The colors look a little muted, which fits this story, to be honest. But I do hope they do some tweaking to the location footage, just to kind of, maybe I've just been spoiled by the Blu-ray releases, so I expect everything to be Blu-ray quality now. I don't know. But I do hope they do some tweaking to try to tighten up the location footage. Everything going on is still good. I love the house, the little set that's the house. I like the kind of wooden work for the house. The guy playing the Egyptian guy is good. The guest cast are all good in this. I've enjoyed them so far. The one guy coming to check on the professor, the guy playing the butler. It really doesn't have a large cast if you think about the story. It's not a large cast. Really, the only disappointing thing is, and I'll say this in all the reviews, is the mummies look a little disappointing because you can tell they're not human. Now, they're big and imposing, which is good. But you can tell that, which of course they're robots. They turn out to be robots. You can kind of tell that. That's a little off-putting. But everything moves along at a steady clip. I love Tom Baker in this. His humor at points. Some of his jokes about mummies. How'd you come in through the window. The dimensional window. I love the scene when he's talking with the Professor Scarman's brother, too, and he sees his little invention. And he's like, oh, congratulations, inventing it 40 years early. And of course, since we know the professor's brother doesn't make it through the episode, that explains why the invention doesn't come to light then, and only comes to light 40 years later. It kind of fits if you think about it. And he's like, well, you wouldn't understand it. And the doctor's like, oh, it picks up radio waves from outer space. I like that. Well, you have to understand, I'm a little ahead of you. So sometimes behind you, but usually ahead of you. I enjoy that. Oh, I understand. Oh, I doubt that, but it's very gracious for you to say so. I enjoy that whole conversation. Tom Baker is just really in top form, which he usually is. I enjoy that whole exchange with him and Professor Scarman's brother. I do. I like that far away look he gets. I also love that line, when he's like, because somebody's meddling with time, and time is my business. I don't know why, but I like the way he does that. Time is my business. I love that line. But Tom Baker, a lot of times when he's in deep thought, when he knows something important is going on, you can see the gears turning in his head as he's working it out. He gets that kind of far away stare. I mentioned this when I was discussing Planet of Evil during my Planet of Evil reviews, because there's scenes in that where he does it too. There's these times when you see Tom Baker and he gets this look on his face like he's staring ahead without really seeing. He's not looking at something specific. He's staring far off because he's in deep thought. He has that really far stare, like he's not looking at anything particular. He's thinking. The gears are turning because he knows it's important. He knows whatever is happening is really bad, really, really bad. And you see as he's putting more and more pieces of the puzzle together, especially when he finally decodes that message about Sutek. He realizes what's at stake. It's like when he's telling them to stay here, I'll do this. That's my thing. I really enjoy a lot of that as well. And that cliffhanger. The cliffhanger to episode 1, that's a heck of a cliffhanger. I love the guy who comes through the portal in that all black, the smoke billowing out from his feet. And when he puts the hands on the guy and the smoke's coming up off of him as he's killing him. It's a heck of a good cliffhanger. It really gets you invested in the story. I love that cliffhanger. So yes, I am loving part 1. Everything is moving at a great pace. I love everything that's going on. And we haven't even met Sutek yet. It is just so much fun to get to revisit all of this again. And I'm enjoying, like I said, everything. Even Tom Baker having to carry the other guy around. He picks him up. He's a Time Lord after all. I love Pyramids of Mars. Part 1 has been fantastic so far. I'm looking forward to getting to part 2 soon. So Pyramids of Mars, part 1. What do you think of it? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications, so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon that does help me pay the bills. If you like what I do and are interested in that, there's a link to that down in the description below. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn, excuse me, why am I calling him Phil? It's hard for me to say a bunch of names in a row. Finn Perkins, I appreciate their continued support as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me, as well as an Amazon wish list. A link to that's down there as well. It's Christmas time. Most importantly though, thank you for watching.